Hello and welcome back to the Percepta Leadership Series. I am very excited to be back today. We have a very special guest, a new guest, and a face that you folks that have continued to watch along will grow to be familiar with. Today, we're joined by Rachel Moore, and she is our new Global Director of Branding and Communications. So we are super, super excited to have Rachel on today. A couple notes before we get in. Rachel, I definitely want to have you introduce yourself and give everybody a little background. Rachel will be my new boss, which is fantastic, or is my new boss, which is fantastic. And on top of that, she's going to help co-host this show with us. So super excited about it, Rachel. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Why don't you give a quick rundown who you are, what you got going on, and we'll kind of start talking a little bit.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you. Big clap, everybody. Applause for Kellen, who did such a great intro, and I know has gotten this leadership series going and has been your host. And he's obviously still going to be here. But I'm super happy to be on and sharing the screen with you as well as a company. So great to be here with you, Kellen. But hi everybody. I'm Rachel Moore. I am the new global director of branding and communications at Percepta.
Which it sounds so good. It sounds so good.
And I could not show up and say I'm helping oversee branding without actually having solid branding behind me. So, which of course we have up in the corner as well. Y'all, you see those two chat bubbles and you know you've hit Percepta. So, but so have I. And so I'm really happy to be joining and also to be helping to co-host this going forward.
Yeah. So Rachel, you have a little bit of background in the BPO space. You have a little background in doing some of this kind of digital media stuff. So why don't you give us a little rundown of kind of what you've been doing and where we're going to go from here?
Of course. So, everyone, you'll get to know this about me. Kellen already knows, and so does the team. I'm a nerd. I'm just a full-on nerd. I have an official nerd card, and you can never take it away from me. I love all things technological. I geek out at apps and software, and also superheroes and TV shows and everything like that. That's why I like to talk about origin stories. So all of us have one, right? When we've kind of settled in the career that we're in, that we're like, oh, this is where I want to be. Or even if we figured out that's what I want to do, that's your origin story. So my origin story in marketing, I'm coming to Percepta with 15 years under my belt. A pretty stylish belt, I might add, and a very eclectic. But my origin story was in social media. I actually created a Facebook page for a company I was working for. It's like right after they turned that feature on in Facebook. And I will say I just got my alert on Twitter that I've had my Twitter account for 14 years. For those of you who are like, has Twitter even been here that long? Yes, it has. It started like a year or two before I started my Twitter account. So, but that was my origin story into marketing. I had 20 years of office administration before that, so did a lot of office administration and management, which anyone who's worked in that knows that there is always the pieces of communication and even some graphic design. Hey, everybody wants to be able, can you whip up that PowerPoint for me or make me a flyer? Well, yes, I can. So it all very much translated to me getting into marketing. And over the years, I've worked for a lot of B2B companies. And again, I'm, as you know, I'm a big fan of defining acronyms. B2B meaning business to business, which actually Percepta is largely part of that because we do support businesses through our contact center solutions and CX solutions. B2B marketing. I've worked in healthcare. I worked for a couple startups, some event technology here and there. And I also used to work for T-Tech. So for those of you watching, if you're a T-Techer, hi. I was there from 2018 to 2021, but I'm super excited to be joining Percepta now. And again, rejoining the BPO space and just immersing myself in all things branding and communications, which you, sir, have been immersed in for a while at Percepta. So I'm just super glad to be part of it now.
Yeah, we're super, super happy to have you here. It's super great to have somebody focused on communications, which is great, and be part of the team. And as you guys that are watching can see, Rachel has her own vibe. She brings a lot of energy and funness. And I think we're going to see that translate here as well. So, Rachel, we've been talking a little bit, you and I, about how this is going to kind of change in a great way. And I think that our energy, and you and I doing this together is going to bring a lot of fun, a new perspective from you coming and bringing new people onto the show. So I think we have a lot of really cool things to look forward here. But also, I mean, social media is your kind of your origin story, as you mentioned. So I'm sure we'll see some really cool stuff coming across as well on our social channels.
Oh, well, and Kellen, thanks for you just tee that up for me so perfectly. Which, by the way, can we all let's just pause a moment. It's not easy to host shows. I just want to say I'm already like, and what a great way to be like, hey, I'm going to show my boss what I can do. Kellen right now is like, I'm like, okay, you got this hosting thing down, which is awesome. It's not the easiest thing. Those of you who might be watching the show regularly are like, it's very challenging to be managing all of this stuff and have that persona. So good job. I'm just taking a note here, but like, make sure I send you like some Percy perk awards and stuff like this. But yeah, but I do want to give a shout out to the rest of our team. I would not be a good boss if I didn't do that. So you mentioned social media. So Meredith Carr, if this was The Price is Right, I'd say come on down. But if you're watching Meredith, and we're gonna tag you in the comments and stuff, but you are awesome, and she is responsible for what you see on the feeds, the organic feeds. So when I say organic, that means like the not paid stuff. It's like, hey, that's a story I see or a video I see, or it's in my feed as I follow Percepta on all the social accounts. But she is largely responsible for putting that out there and is doing a fantastic job and just really engaging. I mean, y'all, for those of you who work in social media, you know that a good engagement rate on social media posts is like 3%. She's over twice that on the regular. So big shout out to her. But she's a big reason why the Percepta brand and our communications on social media is so superbly strong. And I am going to give a shout out to our other team member in just a little bit. But I just want to credit where credit is due. And it's every person's dream, every people manager's dream to be coming and joining a team where, oh my gosh, there are some strong skills present here. This is amazing.
Well, thank you. And part of this whole thing is to your point, teeing up Chris here a little bit, but is our people. And we don't make anything, we don't manufacture something. Our people are our thing. So it's very important. We team up in the communications department. We team up with every department to help with different communications needs within the organization, social media, getting the word out about new projects that are happening, all that kind of stuff. But we wouldn't be able to do any of that without our people. And that's kind of where Chris comes in, is helping to find those people.
Yes. Yeah. And for those of you who are like, well, is this just going to be a shout out fest for Rachel's team? Well, yes, because, I only get the one opportunity to be to be introduced here on this show. From here on out, obviously, we're going to be talking about a whole swath of topics. But Chris Stivers, so again, I'm going to shout out the other member on our team, Chris. You know how I mentioned earlier that Meredith is largely responsible for the organic social media stuff. So things, if you're following our accounts, following our page, you're going to see that in your feed. I should mention here that Percepta is hiring. We are always hiring awesome people for customer experience roles and also all kinds of different roles. And a big part of how we let people know that is through our talent acquisition marketing, which is what Chris does on our team. So if any of you have ever seen a post come across your feed where it's this probably sponsored post, or it's on a job board or something like that, you're like, oh, Percepta, they're hiring right now. That's probably Chris. So, and he's a huge advocate and liaison for our talent acquisition team. All the people who are here at Percepta, responsible for finding that good talent and nurturing that talent and onboarding them, and then of course engaging with them as they're here at Percepta. He's a big part of that. So shout out to our other team member, Chris Stivers.
Absolutely. We are very blessed to have the team that we have. But okay, so I'm just going to keep the segues going. So
let's do it.
One of the things that we're really working on this year is our content and getting the word out about who we are and what we do. And we have a little bit of a new project that we're actually working on. And I would love to have you kind of just give a little breakdown on that as well.
Which one? There were a couple. Which one are you talking
about? Our advocate program.
Yes. So there's more coming on that. So, and again, Kellen, you're bringing up such a great point too, because all of us are super busy. There's obviously, we called out a few different things that you might be
Yep.
seeing just generally as you experience Percepta, but there's so much going on behind the scenes. And I know a lot of our audience who are watching it right now, you are current employees of Percepta. We're very much here to talk to you, and as well, and I want to get into a little bit later, also talking to companies out there who may be working with us already or may not yet, who really care about customer experience. But that through line through all of this is customer experience. And we know at Percepta that in order to make customers have a great experience, we need to make sure our employees have a great experience. That's something I'm super excited about because I'll tell you, this kind of loops back a little bit to my history in marketing and communications. I've done a lot of stuff where it is really just kind of omni-channel marketing, outward bound, and things like that. But I've always had a big heart for what's happening internally. How are we feeling about work? We've always heard those things about like having the was it the Sunday scaries or the
Yep.
Monday, yep, or a case of the Mondays, or whatever, that all that we can all very much identify with. We're saying, hey, I'm about to go into my job. How do I feel about that? And I love the opportunity that I have the opportunity with you all as my team, my immediate team at Perceptive, but also we work with so many people who, with through whatever their role is, they are trying to improve the day-to-day experience of our agents, of our contact center employees, the people that are on the other end of that phone giving solutions to customers. And so I just think it's super awesome that we get to have that impact and try to make that better. Project Advocate is very much about that. That's going to be super fun. You and I very much are going to heavily work on it, as well as the rest of our team. But we're working with our internal stakeholders just to say, hey, good stuff is coming to the lives of our agents,
Yep.
and it's all through receiving feedback that they've given us, that they said, hey, we'd really like to have this, we think this could be better. Who better to tell us that than the people who are doing this day in day out? So and it's not it's not the easiest job ever to be work at a contact center on customer experience. So we want to make that experience better, and that's what Project Advocate's going to do. More to come
More
on
to
that,
come on that for
teasing that
sure.
out a little bit.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that and really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that we have coming together as a comms team that's going to help really support the organization as a whole. So that's kind of our role, and that's kind of what we have going on. Was there anything else that you wanted to get into today, Rachel?
Sure. And I mentioned it earlier, talking about this whole through line of customer experience.
Yep.
Because I know, we just talked about a lot of our employees are our audience here, but so are companies out there. And I mentioned too, I've got a background in B2B marketing, and I know I work with our team members here at Percepta who are very much geared to that. They're saying, hey, yep, part of our job is to make sure that our employees, Percepta employees, our customer experience experts are having a great experience on the job. Because let's face it, we're all spending over half our waking hours at our job, and we want that to be a great place to be. But conversely, I want to just talk to any companies who are listening out there as well, who maybe you already work with us or maybe you don't, but oh my gosh, in today's day and age, especially, customer experience is the holy grail.
Yep.
How often? Okay, let's bring this back a little bit to something everyone can relate to. How have you recently, Kellen? I'm going to ask you this, but have you recently looked up a review on a product or something like that you're like, I'm thinking of getting this, but I want to see what other people think? Have you done that recently?
Yeah, actually, I just did it on a laptop. I just bought my own personal Mac and was doing
Ooh.
that. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I see. Laptops are so fun. It's like
Yeah.
having your own spaceship.
Yeah.
I've done that too. I do it for makeup. Y'all, I'm at the age where concealer is a must-have, and so I definitely, I'm like, okay. But what I've done is I've asked a lot of my friends. I'm like, what do you use? And I care about if they are similar to my age, if they have similar challenges they want to overcome with the concealer, for instance. You probably had your own criteria for buying a laptop where you're like, well, I got to do this.
Yep.
And here's what do I need to make this happen? So those of you who are watching, and drop in the comments, what's the last thing that you like sought someone else's opinion about before you made a purchase, right? Um, that's why it's the Holy Grail. We all care so much about what someone else's experience was before we want to invest time, money, energy into something. And so what my message is then to companies who are like, yeah, we're getting that now, or we've always gotten it and we get that it's a big deal. That's something we're super focused on here at Percepta. I mean, we provide that experience, and usually, frankly, it's just people who need help with something like, hey, I need this to work, or I bought this and I need it to work, or I want to buy it, or whatever. We're really there to say, great, let's make sure that is as seamless as possible for you. So I think we call it the frictionless experience, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that was fantastic. And I appreciate you coming on and just kind of breaking it down a little bit, giving people a little bit of a taste of what's to come, because there is some new stuff coming, which is fantastic and great. And I'm excited to be a part of it, obviously, and grow and learn from you, and really help our teams grow as well, and deliver some really great stuff for our agents, like you said. So really
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
I want it. Well, and Kellen, let's ask one more thing too.
Yeah, for sure.
Those of you watching, if you want to see something particular,
Yes.
certain type of segment, or a topic we cover or whatever, drop it in the comments.
Absolutely.
I think you and I are both committed to, as this show goes forward and as we continue to talk to leaders at Perceptive, but also just really hit some good topics that everyone's thinking about, or maybe they want to learn more about. Let's bring that up too. But yeah, y'all, this show, we're showing up here for you. So let us know what you want to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're happy to dive in and have a great discussion, bring somebody on that's knows something else about it, or Rachel and I just sit here and banter about it and figure it out. So
Right.
looking
Always
forward
good
to
for the
doing it.
banter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much again for joining today. Thank you, everybody who's continued to watch. Great things in store for this show. So please continue to watch, share the show, and we'll talk to everybody very soon. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.